Okay, guys, so we're gonna go through objection handling and just diving a bit. Okay, guys, so we're gonna go through objection handling and we're gonna dive deeper into why we're losing deals at the objection handling stage. So, guys, we all know objection handling is one of the most important aspects of a closed call. We will aim for objectionless calls where we just say it's 3K, it's 4K, and they just buy. That is the ideal situation. But of course, we understand that deals come with objections. That's why we have closers, right? So we have to be prepared for that. So most closers, they can run a solid discovery, right? They can get the pain, they can build rapport, they can get the prospects emotionally invested. Then when the price drops, everything falls apart. Okay. And I've done it myself. You lose all the hard work you've done in the objection handling before. All closers have been there before, and all elite closers are the ones that separate themselves and start to handle objections consistently, eventually pre-handling objections so they don't even come up. But when objections do come up, they can still handle it and they can get the job done. Right. So the objection handling phase is one of the most important parts of a sales call. That's why we have salespeople, right, to handle it. So when you tell a prospect it's $3,000, right? After a 45-minute call, let's say you get to the pitch at minute 40 or minute 30, whenever you get to the pitch. Once they start hearing you say it's 3,000, in their mind, all they can think of is, okay, it's $3,000. So I got to pay this. It's $3,000. Well, it's $3,000. It's $3,000. $3,000. They don't remember about their goals. They don't remember about why they need to do this. They don't remember their pain. They don't remember their struggles. They just remember 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. So as a prospect, all of your hard work has been erased in that one price drop. So if the pain is big enough and you built a large gap during the discovery, then some people will just, regardless of the price, they're going to see the value, they're going to pay, they're going to spend the money, especially if they have the money to spend. But a lot of the time in sales, we are also closing people that are taking they're making an investment and they don't have all the money in the world, right? They're not wealthy. They might genuinely just be in a place where they're actually trying to make more money. They're investing in themselves to make more, so they're taking a leap of faith. So it's going to naturally have them in a place of somewhat fear. So you have to expect that objection. And when you tell them the price, they're going to try and back out. They're going to lose that emotional state. They forget why they're on the call, what's at stake. So the three fatal mistakes that most closers make is number one, right? Making statements instead of asking questions. You said you wanted to lose weight, so this is why you should do it. That is one of the biggest mistakes that we make because as a closer, in the 45 minutes discovery, if you've done it correctly, you've got clear pain points, clear understanding of what they need to do to reach their goals. Now, if you tell them you said you wanted to lose weight, it creates the back and forth of, yeah, I said this, but that. 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 You don't want them to feel like you're accusing them or you're putting them in that bucket. You need to make them remember what they said and why they said it. So we're gonna work through how to do that shortly. But just saying statements is one of the most common ways that closers and people that in the negotiation lose frame, lose control, because statements lead to the prospect not learning, just taking what you're saying and giving you a statement back. And then the second biggest mistake is believing their excuses at face value. So the money objection is always, pretty much always, a value objection in disguise. And pretty much all excuses that people are going to give to you is because of the money. It's going to be some level of reasoning behind their excuse, right? There's going to be some merit to it, but they booked in the call for a reason. They took this step for a reason. So whatever they're telling you, they knew this before booking in the call. And if it was truly that pressing and truly that big of an issue, they wouldn't have booked the call in the first place. So we can't take excuses for face value. We must press it. We must push back until we truly find what's really going on. And then lastly, one of the most important things I like to say that you can't do is forget the discovery. All the hard work you've done in like 35 minutes, all the ammunition you need for you to objection handle and handle the situation with ease is always going to be what you learn in the discovery. And closers, once they get into the objection handling, they start saying statements like, "You said you need to do this," and then the prospect says, "Yeah, but I know, but I've got bills to pay." And then you're like, "Oh, you got bills to pay? So talk to me. Let's talk about the money. Let's talk about how much money you have in your bank account. Let's blah blah blah." You're getting logical. You're focusing on the numbers, taking the smoke screen. Now you're not even remembering what they told you in the discovery about how the kids need their help, how they're stuck. All gone because you just got sidetracked and you forgot the hard work you did in the discovery, right? So, an example of someone that is a prospect that is a former army veteran, powerlifter for 10 years, currently injured throughout his back, right? And terrified of not being able to play with his kids, right? That's enough pain for someone to buy. That's a huge, huge, huge gap, huge pain. His kids, that's why it's highlighted in red, is something that even that sentence alone is enough for someone to make a payment, someone to buy and invest in themselves, right? But when the price dropped, Kyle, his response was, "I want to shop around and look at other options." Now, Kyle didn't close because he was in that analytical state and he genuinely thought that the best solution is looking around and finding other options. But as a closer, as we all know, finding other options, looking around is an endless cycle. Kyle has done that before and he's going to continue to do that. The only thing he's going to do different, and the only thing he needs to do different is take action because that's what's going to get him his results. That's what's going to help him make a change in his life, right? So, what the closer needs to do when someone gives you the objection for this archetype, like, so this is what we found out in the objection, so in the discovery, right? Found out he's a veteran, powerlifted for 10 years, injured his back, terrified not being able to play with his kids. So if he says to me, "Oh, I need to shop around," my response to him is going to be, "I hear you, Carl, but you've been training by yourself for the last 10 years, right? And that's what got you injured. Like you can't pick up your kids right now. You don't feel competent enough to do this by yourself. So what more research do you need to do at this point? Right? The only solution now is getting an expert in your corner because that's what you need. You need someone who's going to help you fix your injury, help make sure you train right, and not spend more time looking. You need to take action because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. Can't you see that? You saying that to a prospect, taking everything you learned from the discovery, everything you learned about him, and just being honest with him. You're not saying, "You said this, you said that," or you're not believing his bullshit that he needs to look for another coach because he doesn't need to look. He needs to take action. And then you're using what you learn in discovery, and when you put it together, you get a rebuttal or a reframe that he can't deny. That he has to take ownership. So the mindset shift is one of the most important things, and you have to remember they need you more than you need them. They don't realize they are doing this bullshit. They don't realize they're putting themselves in the box. They don't realize they are giving themselves excuses. They have this problem that they can't solve. They've tried for months, they've tried for years. So you're not selling them on something, you're offering them a solution to a problem that's been weighing on them. And because the problem's so large, they've been trying for so long, when you try and get them to make a change, of course they give you an excuse. Of course they push back because that's all they know. That's what they're used to. And we're here to do the opposite. We're here to push them out of this zone so they can actually step up and be the person they want to be. But the only way they get there is through uncomfortability and through pain and through hardship. But when they do that, when you push them on that and you teach them that this is about moving forward and making a change, and you're going to hate me now, but you're going to love me later, in 6 months' time, they truly will come back and say thank you. I've had it many times. You close someone, you objection handle, you tell them to take that step, you push them, they do it, they make a change, and they say thank you. It's one of the best feelings in the world because you helped someone. Not many people can do that. Not many people can say that. But in sales, we have that luxury to help people whilst making money. But you only help people once you fight for them and you realize you're not selling, you're providing a solution. So, key takeaways is you have to really just believe what you're selling, truly believe it, and to the stop the mindset of falling into their bullshit and letting them dictate and think that the solution of not taking action is the bad solution. Taking action will always be the best solution in anything in life. Always remember that. So key takeaways after the price drop, prospect, remember they forget everything. Your job is to bring them back to reality, bring them back to the reason why they're here. Don't believe the excuses at face value. Dig deeper. The discovery gives you all the ammunition you need to close the deal and to anchor the pain so they make a decision and move forward. And conviction closes deals. If you don't believe in the solution, neither will they.